any other school, I was getting really sick,
Mm,
seriously ill, and not getting a diagnosis. And finally, it was January. It was January of 2008. I didn't
mm,
set any goals. I was wondering I was going to do with my kids, and I was especially concerned
right.
about my child with learning disabilities, that I was
Mm,
going to have to put them in public school because I was too sick to carry
right.
on. I was finally diagnosed with celiac disease. Um,
Mm,
I was a pretty bad case. They thought that maybe I'd had it for 15 years without being diagnosed because
really?
the main symptom wasn't even on the list then. It is
Hmm.
now. And my other most bothersome symptom was at the bottom of the list.
Oh, wow.
So
It was a
when they,
unique case.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
when they went in and did the endoscopy, my stomach was falling apart to the touch. So not only did I not have any
Wow.
villi and was unable to absorb any nutrients, but my
Hmm.
stomach was literally falling apart. Which so I was like, I knew I was dying, but nobody could figure out why. Well, I was because celiac
Mm-hmm.
disease affects every system in your body. And that also, that leaky gut of the worst kind,
Mm-hmm.
causes a lot of food allergies. There were
Right.
so many, I was just so miserable nonstop all the time. And then when I got the diagnosis, I thought, this is great. All I have to do is not eat gluten. So once I learn that, then I'm going to be well. But that has
Not
not
quite.
been the case
Right.
at all. So
As
it's
it
it's
is for
been a
most
long
people. Yeah.
road, and I've
Mm.
been on a lot of diets. In fact, I've been on most of them. So
Hmm.
I have healed a lot, and I'm
Right.
very, very thankful. But there was a 2 year period that my kids went to public school as I
Mm.
struggled to speak. Yeah, I couldn't even talk, and to try to
Wow.
maintain um, some weight. So
Yeah.
those were tough
Yeah.
years. And it also, though, kind of showed when my kids went into public school and
Mm-hmm.
survived, thrived,
Right.
that the way I decided to homeschool did work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to take a tangent question because I know a lot of moms that may be having some similar circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you find peace in making that step? Because I think we feel so guilty about doing things for ourselves when we have to do it. And so there's my question for you.
I appreciate that question. In fact, the year before was the first year I'd spoken at the Southeast Homeschool Expo. The
Mm,
owner of the show was a mentor to me, and I had met, and she was helping me through the learning disabilities with my son, and we would chat. And she once asked me if I'd written and if I would start writing about my experiences as a child and share with other
yeah.
people about homeschooling. So I went to the Southeast Homeschool Expo in Atlanta, Georgia, and I
Mm,
spoke for the first time. Plus, I was very involved in the homeschool community. All this to say, I knew a lot of people, and a lot of people
mm.
knew who I was. So when I put my kids in public school, it was talked about.
Oh,
And
I'm
some people
sure.
said that we didn't have enough faith because we
Mm,
put our kids in public school. But I'm going to tell you, I think we had a lot of faith. We had a lot of
right.
faith to put our kids in public
Exactly.
school. My sons entered public school at sixth and seventh grade. We didn't send them into public school because we were sick of homeschooling. It was because I needed to get well. And my daughter started in fourth grade. So that could be a topic for a whole nother night, what we experienced because my children weren't desensitized to it. But when we sent them, and people had made some negative comments, but we also had a lot of people that were praying along with us, we had total peace. And what I would tell people is, I'm not, thrilled with where they're at, but we have
Right.
peace and we're
Hmm.
praying over them. And it taught us a lot. We won't go into that tonight because it's not the topic, but it is interesting what we went through. And your
Yeah.
kids always watch you. And that's another thing about,
So
that's
true.
so tough with these food allergies. They're watching
Hmm.
me and being a very restricted diet and very sick. And I'm so
Hmm.
stubborn. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
I am the worst to try to do things that I shouldn't do,
Mm,
or the lessons I've had to learn in resting. Resting is still a big part of my life. I
yeah.
have to rest or I
Mm,
won't be able to go on. So Yeah, I had faith to do it. And moms, you do have to rest. You do. And if you're a Christian,
Mm-hmm.
um, the thought can be like, I can't do enough, or God has called me to something more than what I can. And boy, that letting go is so hard. And
It
so when
is.
I went through everything that I went through, and I thought, well, some people are more stubborn than others, and they need a really hard, a really hard letting go. Um, it was a tough 2 years, a lot of medical bills. So we lost our ability to live in our home. We
Oh.
lost all of our savings. We went into debt.
Mm.
And my kids went to public school, and we're all here to tell about it. And even the kids will say, Moms, listen, the kids, they're grown. They're 19, 22, and 24. They will say, made them tough. It made them tough
Yeah.
having a mom who wasn't well. Because even leading up
Mm.
to not having the diagnosis, they had to help me so much.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then